here at Major Money Matters, you're a veteran. We want to say thank you for your service. All right. So we cover the appraisal on our VA loans.
We don't charge an underwriting fee. We don't charge a processing fee. We're not concerned about the intent to proceed because we're paying for the appraisal anyway. We're concerned about speed.
It is our responsibilities to get disclosures out, to review them with the buyer, and then for that buyer to take 5 minutes, okay, out of their busy day and sign the disclosures. If you're a buyer, you want to get into your new home without delays. If you're a realtor, everybody gets paid when the loan closes, and you want to get to payday faster. And when you want these things to happen quickly, it's important to partner with a lender who knows how to get this done quickly.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Major Money Matters. My name is Major, and today, again, we have our brother. It would be our because it's me and my sister's brother, theoretically, online with us to talk about how we close VA loans fast. And this isn't exclusive to VA loans necessarily. We typically close a lot of loans fast, whether it's VA or conventional, FHA even, but we're going to talk about the steps that we do. And Marion, I wanted to bring you on to talk about this because you know this, as we bring on a lot of loan officers from the retail side of originations onto the broker side of originations. People believe a lot of things about brokers. You can't close fast, you don't have it in control, yada, yada, all of this stuff. That's not true. But, you know, we have people who have come over recently and they're like, oh crap, I'm already CTC. That's clear to close if you don't know that vernacular. I'm already approved on this and I could schedule my buyer for signing, and it's really, really fast and really, really efficient. So on VA loans specifically, we do things to cut down the timeline because many people believe that VA loans take longer to close. And I'm gonna blame originators on that because they don't do, you know, the work up front, or they don't know how to do this. Marion, can you tell us, on average, how many VA loans does the average originator do in a year? On average, how many VA loans does the average originator do in 1 year?
The average originator, focus on the word average, but the average originator does 1 to 2 VA loans per year.
All right, pop quiz, Marion. Is there anything that you have ever done 2 times in a year and you're really good at it?
Nothing.
Nothing. I can't think of anything. I went ice skating in the Poconos once. Not doing that crap again. You know, first of all, I mean, 250 on a little small blade. Those numbers. that blade was under a lot of stress, bruh.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But you know, if you don't have a lot of at bats at this, and sometimes people will say, "Oh, my lender's been in the business for 20 years and all of this stuff." Well, if your lender has been in business for 20 years and doesn't do a lot of loans, I mean, that's the interesting thing is, collectively, I think on my team, Marion, I think collectively last year we did 700 loans. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's I think it was the number was 751 that we did on our team, and that's a lot of at bats. You see a lot of things. You see a lot of a lot of things go on, and you could figure out things really, really quickly. But on VA loans specifically, we figured out a way to be efficient because we're trying to change the dialogue around the VA loans and to do them faster. And we have receipts. We got people who have closed in 8 days, and we got builders who called us, say, "Hey, I need you to step in and save a deal or something, or see if you can get this deal done." Okay, it's clear to close. That done. Signing in 8 days. Let's go. So we have receipts, and now we have enough case studies to make this happen. But we always say you got to get ready to run before you run. Okay, you better stretch. Okay? Yeah. Especially if you're over 30, you better stretch out first.
I'm talking about you need a warm up walk before you run.
You don't just
Okay.
get out of bed and go running anymore.
Oh my
Once
goodness,
you
that's
hit 30,
a
35.
recipe
Yeah.
for disaster.
So we got to get ready to run. So we need like a cohesive team before we start doing this. So Marion, who do we need on our team to be on the same page in order to make this happen?
So we need what we call the triad. Okay, so we need the triad, and that's going to be the agent. All right, we need the agent on board. All right, we need the lender on board, but we're also going to need the client or the borrower on board.
Yeah.
Like
And
we're about to run.
yeah, the most important thing about that is probably the client. Okay, so we have our process in place, but if the client takes 3 days to respond to us on something, on a condition or something like that, or the agents don't know we're trying to close fast, or they're not, they're dragging their feet. And when I say agents, we mean buyer and seller. We need everybody on the same page. Like, hey, we're going to get this done fast. Many things we can get done up front, but we need to get ready to roll because we have to have everybody on the same page. Because when we close, yes, we post, hey, we close this in 7 days, close in 8 days on our social media. Yeah, great job. But behind that is a whole team of people, our operations team, who's absolutely amazing. And they know how to get things done fast. They know where the red flags are, what they have to ask for, where the conditions are going to be for the underwriter. They know this stuff and they ask for that stuff up front. But we also need good agents that are ready to run. So first step to doing this, to getting done, getting a CTC or getting your loan approved fast, is we got to do a full pre-approval up front. Okay. Now, what are some of the things we're looking for, Marion, when we do that pre-approval?
Well, number one, if you've seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Willy Wonka, whichever version suits you best, we need a golden ticket, okay? And the golden ticket to even get started, hey, do I have a VA loan or not? All right. And that's going to be the certificate of eligibility, okay?
Listen, you won't believe how many times. First of all, you won't believe how many times I've talked to a realtor, and the realtor has said, "Well, we're pending the COE." Then you don't have a VA loan. You don't have and guess what? If the lender tells your buyer to go pull the COE or go log into the VA website and get the COE, if the lender says that and say, "Hey, we need you to go get the COE," you are working with the wrong lender, because the VA is a government organization and they do a lot to help veterans. I'm not taking that away. They just don't move fast and they are not efficient. And sometimes getting the COE, sometimes it's automatic and the lender should be able to log into that system and pull it automatically. But sometimes you have to know exactly what form to submit in order to get the COE. And if you're sending your buyer to get the COE and they don't know what form to submit, it's going to be a very frustrating scenario for you, the lender, and the buyer. So if they tell the buyer to go get the COE, that is the lender's job. Go get the COE. All right. So keep that in mind. If the lender says, "Well, I need them to go get their COE," wrong lender.
Absolutely.
It takes 30 seconds to pull. In most cases, 90% of cases, it takes 30 seconds to log into the system. Okay. I had to pull one last night. I was on a phone call with a buyer. They're actually buying their third house with us. Military family, Space Force family, keeping us safe from the aliens. But I joke. But no, it doesn't take that long to do. So we got to get the COE. We got to do a full review of income, assets. Are they self-employed? All of this stuff. We got to look at the taxes. All of the stuff we ask for up front, because sometimes in some markets, Marion, we're doing a VA loan competing with cash and winning.
Absolutely.
But we got to be ready to run up front. All right. Number 2 is we order the appraisal on day 1 of escrow. Marion, why do we order the appraisal on day 1 of escrow? And why might some lenders not order the appraisal on day 1 of escrow?
Well, number one, first part of that question, we order it because we don't want to be held up by appraisal. Okay. And VA loans can get a bad rap because, my lending counterparts, okay, do not order that appraisal on the first day of escrow. All right. And now, everybody else, you're ready to run. You've got all of these things in order. You want to schedule a closing, and we'll get to that in a moment. But it's like, hey, we don't have the appraisal back. What?
Yeah, exactly. We're still pending the appraisal. Okay.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, here at Major Money Matters, you're a veteran. We want to say thank you for your service. All right. So we cover the appraisal on our VA loans.
Yeah. So, Marion, by the way, in the last 4 years, we've given $300,000 back to veterans and saving them for their closing costs just by simply not charging for the appraisal and covering the cost of the appraisal. So we've given that back. The other thing is we don't charge an underwriting fee. We don't charge a processing fee because our support team that supports us directly is either former military or former military spouses who have all used their VA home loan to purchase homes. So they know what it's like. They know what it's like to have to pay high closing costs. And we do our best to keep that low by no underwriting, no processing fee, and covering the cost of your appraisal. So we ordered appraisal on day one. Now, other lenders don't do this because they're waiting on the buyer to sign loan documents because technically you can't charge the appraiser to the buyer until they sign the intent to proceed. We're not concerned about the intent to proceed because we're paying for the appraisal anyway. We're concerned about speed. Okay. So if there's a reason that, the realtor thinks that we should hold off on ordering the appraisal, might have an inspection issue or something like that, then we should know about that. But all in all, let's go full bore. So we've gotten the appraisal ordered. We've done a full pre-approval. Okay. And we're within hours of getting an accepted contract right now. Okay. So we got those two things taken care of. The next thing is getting your disclosure signed, and that's working with the buyer. Okay. And so tell us some things that we're looking at there when the buyer is getting their disclosure signed and we're talking about the terms of the loan.
Well, this is a part that we talk about when we talk about a full buy-in from the triad. And that buy-in is going to include working very quickly to get documents signed, to get needed documents in order to support certain positions in underwriting. And we'll talk more about those in just a moment. But it is number one, the speed of the lender, all right, to react. It's the speed of the agent, but most importantly, it's the speed of the buyer to get disclosures signed. It is our responsibilities to get disclosures out, to review them with the buyer, and then for that buyer to take 5 minutes, okay, out of their busy day and sign the disclosures.
The interesting thing about disclosures is there's a loan estimate in there, and that's really the meat and potatoes of the thing. Everything is, everything else is just side things, and all of those documents, like 100 documents that they sign electronically. I won't say it takes 5 minutes. Maybe if you want to read everything, it could take you 30 minutes to read everything. Definitely, maybe a night, maybe if you need a good cure for insomnia, because most of those documents are in there because somebody got sued over something, and now the government says we have to include those documents in there. So we now end up with 115 different signatures. So we get the disclosure signed. The next part is for the agents. So while we're working all that with the buyer, we talked about the triad. While we're working that with the buyer, we also have to have the agent working something, and that's getting the inspections done.
Absolutely. Getting those inspections done on day one or day two at the latest. Getting that inspection done. Major, you've used your VA loan how many times?
Probably 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Same here. I mean, I've made 3 purchases on a VA loan, so we know the things that work personally, much less or much more with the veterans that we have helped to purchase. But we know getting that inspection on day 1 or day 2 are going to be pivotal in making sure that we have the inspection as we move forward in the process.
Right. So we don't need the inspection. Okay. We don't need the inspection. However, once we've done the inspection, we've got loan disclosure signed, we got an appraisal ordered, there's a certain piece that comes over the buyer. And that's what it's all about. We want a smooth buying experience for the buyer. There's a certain piece that they know the condition of the property. They've had the inspection done. Maybe they're asking folks for some repairs, but they generally know what we're looking at. And then we know what our terms are. We know what our interest rate is. We know what, the monthly payment's going to be. We know how we want to structure this. Well, are we doing a 2-1 buy down or something like that? Or are we buying down the rate? We've done all that stuff. And 24 to 48 hours into the accepted contract, we're now exhaling because now it's all downhill. We've gotten the interesting things done. And the downhill part is really the underwriting. Okay. Now we pretty much know what's going to come up in underwriting on VA loans. Some of these things are very, very predictable. We know the things, especially on the buyer conditions, we know what to expect. By the way, on your underwriting, you need 24-hour turn times. Okay. You got to be able to submit stuff, get turn times back. That's your operational part. On the broker side, we work with lenders who have fast turn times. Okay. We want great pricing, but great pricing isn't everything. We also want fast speed kills in football and loans. Okay. I was talking to a buyer last night. They were like, hey, we're thinking we're going to go to Virginia and it's going to be like a, 60-day closing time. So we'll be closing, at this time. And the first time they said it, I didn't say anything. I'm like, oh, maybe they want to take 60 days to close. And then he said, yeah, but when you consider it's going to take 60 days to close. And I said, wait a minute. Are you saying it's going to take us 60 days or it's taking you 60 days? Well, we got to have time to do the underwriting process and everything. I'm like, yeah, don't give me anything more than a 3-week contract. And that's on the long end. Okay. We need to get this done fast. We don't want to. So 24-hour turn times to get a response back from the underwriter. By this time, you should have some marginal conditions on a VA loan. If your state requires termite, you might have a need for a termite report. By the way, if you're in a state where the termite report is included in the inspection, get that done up front, okay? If that's included in the inspection. So we get our turn times, we're good on timetable, and then we figure out what else we need to resubmit to the underwriter. And then we have that resubmission process. And then next, we're getting clear to close the scheduling signing. It's time to celebrate.
That's it.
Okay? And that's a simple process. This process does not take very long. So Marion, what are some closing thoughts from you on, just understanding how this process works? Because people keep asking us, like, how'd you guys do this so fast? Well, because number one, it's not that hard. Okay. Number two, if we're getting held up, somebody in the triad is not playing along well. Okay. The appraisal timelines. We get questions about this often, because sometimes people are not familiar with VAs and they think the appraisal is going to take longer. There's actually a table that the VA submits or the VA puts out, and it tells you what the appraisal timeliness is for the appraisal to be done. So we actually can go to benefits.va.gov, I think it's a website, go under appraisals, look at your area and tell you how long the appraiser has to do the appraisal. Most cases, like 90% of cases, it's 10 days or less. So, and typically we're getting appraisals back faster. By the way, not part of this video, but VA appraisals over the United States usually come back at value or higher, at a higher rate than FHA or conventional. If you're one of these people that think the VA appraisal is going to come in low, we'll do another video on that. But closing thoughts for you, Marion.
Hey, you know what? If you're a realtor and you're watching this, okay, or a buyer and you're watching this, when we talk about speed, okay, if you're a buyer, you want to get into your new home without delays. All right. If you're a realtor, okay, everybody gets paid when the loan closes, and you want to get to payday faster. All right. And when you want these things to happen quickly, it's important to partner with a lender, all right, Major Money Matters, who knows how to get this done quickly, how to get your buyers into their home and close, and how to get you your paycheck faster.
I mean, you're serving families, but this is not an altruistic thing. You're not serving families for free, because I don't work for free. I don't spend time away from my kids' soccer game for free. It is a job. It's often hard work. We have to be efficient. Talk to your lenders, man. I mean, if you're talking to, the big box lenders, Veterans United, USAA, Navy Federal, stuff like that, they're not about speed. All of those names are big names in lending, and sometimes they're too big to fail. And they don't care how long it's going to take, because another loan's coming in tomorrow. We build our business off of relationships, off of referrals. And although we do a lot of business, we want to keep the relationship going and keep the referable experience going for the buyer. So,
Absolutely.
Hey, brother, glad we're able to tackle this and have some conversation about this, because we're doing this every day and people just don't know about it.
Yeah.
Awesome. God bless you. All right. See you next time on Major Money Matters. Thanks for joining us, brother.